Okay, the process and the requirement I'm just going to go through first. The requirement, first of all, is we've got requirement one for non-voice team member and one for voice team member. So non-voice team member should be very analytical, should be able to um, look at things in detail, and they have the zeal to succeed. So those are basically the main traits of a non-voice person. Yeah, they have to be very detail oriented. They should be asking you how to do this, how to do that, how to questions. Yeah, so a lot of those questions, and they should be able to organize. When you meet these people, you'll easily feel, oh, these people are actually organized. Yeah, and then you ask specific questions to those, asking how do they deal their daily lives, as in what do they do in the uni, and look for clues of where they're saying, I organize this, I make sure this is going in this particular system, this is how I want this to be. And those people are the people from the wealth dynamics. You'll see they are the steel, they are the systemized people. Right? We know need those systemized peoples to be in the non-voice team, because only then they'll be able to support the voice team. Now on the other hand, the voice team members, they are more outgoing, they're very good with communication skills, they're very expressive, they tell what is happening, they connect well with people. Yeah, so they know what to say when. These are the voice team members. They should be able to give us a um, you should be able to pick the clues from their speaking itself. When they talk, they should be able, they will say sentences like, oh well, this is how I've done it, and these are the people I worked with, and I helped them doing this, I helped doing that. I provided this value. This is how I sold it. This is how I did things. So you want to look at those connections, how many connections there are. These people on the voice team, they usually focus on more people and feelings and emotions. Okay, they focus on those. On the left hand side, when we're looking for non-voice team members, they focus more on the systems, procedures, numbers, and how to detail. Okay, so those two are the major differences between voice and non-voice. When you pick a candidate for the interview and you come across the candidate, and then you're analyzing the candidate, you're making them go through these rounds of interviews, and then you figure out when you go and meet them face to face that they're either suitable for voice to voice or non-voice team members. So on the round one, what I am seeing increasingly happening is we're not putting in details. We need to put the details. I've recorded this earlier with Tina as well. We need to put details of what questions have been asked and what answers have they said. So that way, the next round, whoever is doing the next round, ideally make another team member do the rest next round, if possible. Where it's not possible, now we've got Mel, right? So Mel should be able to do all the 3 rounds for now. And then the fourth round is with the project core team, which will be with Tina. And then you come up with me. Yeah. Now this is training process, right? So first, in the first round, you make sure you ask all the questions you need to ask in the first round to qualify, and they usually are: where are you based, and how far is the location, when can you join, what are you looking for, what experience have you got. All of those questions should be in the first round itself. I don't know how you guys do your first round, but this is the process. So you call a candidate and say, can you tell me more about yourself and tell me exactly what you want, what job are you looking for, when can you join, how far are you from this office, this is the postcode, and are you open to UK shifts? Yeah, and what is your career? Yes, I need to see those on the notes. Yeah, I need to see those on notes, because without those notes, I don't know what questions are remaining that I need to ask. Example, look at this candidate. Yeah, the note says she is good in face-to-face interview and she has been genius tests. She has been she have been, I don't know what that means. She have completed BE that I can see that from the CV. Yeah, I can see that from the CV. So she have completed BE. Is that the graduation she was mentioning? Now on the call with me, she said she's finishing the final semester in April and she wants to look for a job from June. Yeah, but that's not mentioned here. Yeah, on that basis alone, you should reject this candidate, because we want somebody who can start right now and who's got the commitment to work. With candidates who are studying, with candidates who are studying in the last year, in the final year, and they say, I'm ready to work, I want to join right now. That is fine, but that's not the ideal candidate for us. We need people who don't have the pressures of the studies. Otherwise, we've seen in the past, people will start making reasons and excuses, and then they want holidays for the exams, they want this, they want that. It's too much for us. So, as a business, we won't be able to function if we don't have people continuously working for a longer time. Yeah. So only pick those candidates who are available to work now, who finished their degrees, who finished their documents, they've got their degrees and they've got the documents, they're looking for work actively, and look for those candidates who are looking for the work that is going to support them in their life. That as in that should be their need for the work. Yeah, don't look for those candidates who just want to work for the sake of working. Yeah, look for those candidates where we can add value to their life. If they come to us, they should work with the commitment, and obviously the money and the rewards will come as they work, right? So the people we're looking for in the first round itself, you suss them out and then say, yeah, I've got this candidate, he's got tick the right things in there, and you put those notes in here. In the first round, every round you should have the notes. So this note, for example, it should read round one interview questions and answers. This is how it's been asked. Now the other thing is, if this is a fresher, the person who's coming out from college, yeah, and expecting 15K, we don't want them because they're not realistic. Yeah, so you need to speak to Tina for these type of roles. How much should a fresher should expect from us? How much should we pay them? And how much can we afford in the first place as a business? Because now you're seeing the matrix reports and all that stuff. You start to acknowledge how much funds we've got available for working in the team. And at the moment, we haven't got much because of the quality issues we've got, which is what we're trying to fix with the number of team members we're adding. Yeah. So that's the first round. So once you finish the first round, you update the notes, and then once you finish the first round, you update notes and then tag the person you want to speak to next. Say, for example, Tina, that finished round one. Could you? I know you sit next to each other, but we're thinking of scaling this business, right? We're thinking of how we're going to improve the team and have team members dispersed in the area. So you can have one person working with you now in Coimbatore. You can have another team member working in Bangalore, Hyderabad, wherever. Yeah. So we had teams who used to work in Pakistan as well. Yeah, so the idea is this system, this whole thing we're using as if we're going to scale this business. Only then we are ready for the new scaled business. Okay, so you say finished round one. Could you please do round two or round three, whatever it is? Yeah, and if you're doing the full-time role, you're doing round one, two, three anyway. But what I'm trying to show you here is the notes that you need to update. You update that and send it to the person. When you tag it, this generates a message to them, and they get notified of the tag, right? So you do that, you do the second round, and on the second round, the online disk profile test. There's a separate video on the Confluence which I'm going to tag on this post that you need to go through and follow. And once you do the disk profile, yeah, you need to analyze the test results. So look at this is the disk, I believe. So look at this profile. This profile test. You need to be able to analyze these details. Tina, there's a video on this, right? So Mel should go through this video. Did we record that video, Tina, or the disk test profile? Yeah. So that Mel has to go through, and she should be able to understand what this means and put those numbers on that Excel sheet and then select the candidate. Yeah. So although these numbers look all right for this particular candidate, she looks like she was kind of similar profile to Sukhdeep, but again, but Mel needs to understand this. Okay, and then values index. Can I look at that values index? Now this tells me this person is more of an individualistic person, similar to what Erica's profile was, right? Meaning they might not be very well suited for a team culture, right? So very high individualistic, meaning you demonstrate high independence and project self-confidence. Self-confidence I could have seen from her talk. She was like, yeah, I can do this, I can easily do that. That's fine. But can you actually do that? Without the team support, you won't be able to. Yeah. So sometimes these candidates are really, really good for sales, which Mel has already recognized. She is for voice process. But again, it has to be a whole bigger picture, right? So we might be able to give the person an offer and test it out, but testing out costs us a lot of money. Yeah, 3 months is a lot of time. 3 months is the probation. So we basically try and get the candidate's suitability using these reports, and these can change. This is just guideline by the way, at the moment. It's just guidelines. So just to give you tools of saying, yeah, they might be around this, and then once they come to the interview, you you check. For example, I'll give you this. Consistency. C stands for cautiousness and consistency, right? C, cautious. So on here, the score says 67, which is around orderly, neat, somewhere here, right? So now when they come in, you figure out if these candidates are actually analytical. Can they actually do things in detail? And this supports this thing here. You can see this is the analytical part of cautiousness. So if you now go and look at the wealth dynamics test, and that turned out to be steel. Steel is on the left hand side of wealth dynamics, and those people are analytical. That confirms, right? Two tests confirms. Now you also need to confirm that from the interview, right? And that's what we need to do. And you can look the steel system. See, steel genius, system smart. You take care with detail, but are often overcautious. Can you see overcautious? Figures from Warren Buffett, da, da, da. This is all the things. So Mel should be able to read this and figure out what we really need for the team. And these people ask how details. Now, when I asked this candidate, Darshana, a few details, because that's the candidate's details we're looking at. She wasn't sure of how she was going to do the project. Usually, when we ask those questions, I asked her about the last project she's working on, this candidate, and she mentioned she's working on the robotic fish, but she said she just started and she hasn't got the details. Now, usually these people already have the details even before they start. All right, tells to me that she lacks that spirit of getting things done. She might be steel genius, but she lacked that spirit. So people when with steel, yeah, when they can procrastinate, they can take a long time to do things, or they can be actually good enough and get things done. So this person basically, from my analysis so far, just from those two reports and 10 minutes call with her, I can tell she's got this. She's got the intention to do detailed stuff. She's got the confidence as a person who can speak, as the outgoing person, but her profile sits more on the left hand side, more on the non-voice process side rather than voice. So when you put these candidates on voice, for example, they might find it hard to make sales because they're overanalyzing things. Yeah. With salespeople, you want those salespeople to be very outgoing and connect with people emotionally and figure out what is going on, what happens if you're able to do this, how can we help them? That's when you make sales. Yeah. The delivery part, they have to be analytical, they have to be detailed, they have to be cautious and support the delivery process, and obviously they have to get things done. So those two profiles different, right? So those are a few quick tips in here. Once you move those candidates through that and you analyze those details, all of that has to happen in these rounds after the test. Don't just jump in and do all of these rounds in one day. Yeah, I think this one thing we can improve now, because we used to do this because we did not have Mel before. Now we've got Mel. What you need to do is you call all the candidates for round two on one day. Yeah, you call them. So don't try and call one candidate per interview. No, you need to have at least 10 candidates lined up for round two, and use. So when you qualify the candidates, this tells me when you qualify the candidates, we're not qualifying enough. You figure out which type of role they're working for, when do they need to join, and then You only call those candidates who are motivated to come. And don't call them tomorrow. Don't call them tomorrow. So what you should do is what you should do is you have a time you have a timestamp and say, okay, I am calling for candidates on this particular day. Say today is 18th, right? So round two, we're going to have on Tuesday or Wednesday, for example, 23rd. So every day you keep calling these candidates and assess their suitability and say we've got the face-to-face round, the open day happening on 23rd. Yeah. Are you, if you're suitable, if you think you can do this job, you should confirm to me now so we can do the arrangements and you get the details of where to come and attend the interview on 23rd. So we need to plan for it. Then you build at least 20, 30 candidates lined up for round two on 23rd. Out of them, only 5, 6 might come. So having 10 and you only get one person, that's around 10%, isn't it? So if you have 20, 30 candidates, you might only get 2 or 3, right? So you should have 20, 30 candidates on that particular round 2 list. From there, whoever comes, they go on to the next round. So you make them do the disk profile, then you upload that on the disk results, and then you speak to them, you analyze them, and then send them away. And then call them another day later. So you say, this was the first round. You come to me again on 24th, that is tomorrow. We're going to do the second round for you. Or you can do round 2 and 3 in one day. So on 23rd, you can do round 2 and 3. That way you make them write both the tests. And then once you get all the tests, you start analyzing those results and put in the Excel sheet and figure out and go through what their profiles are. Then call them on 24th for the interview. You say, yeah, you've gone through the test, your test results really good. We like the way you think. Could you come and attend the interview on 24th or 25th, whenever is suitable for us? So you call them for that interview. So out of those 3 or 4 candidates who have attended the round 2 and 3, only 1 or 2 might turn up, right? So if 1 or 2 turn up, out of those 1 or 2, we have no guarantee we're going to have a suitable candidate who's going to be suitable for the next rounds, or they qualify. Once they qualify, once you make the offer to the candidates after all the specifications, there is no guarantee the offer is going to be accepted. Yeah, because the candidates can take the offer and go to some other company and say, we've got an offer from this company, can you give me a better offer? A lot of candidates do that. So we don't want those candidates. So they might not accept the candidate, and they might not accept the offer. Even if they accept the offer and they join, some people might not join after accepting. Some people join and they might not perform well. So you have to let them go. Okay, so this is the process. So basically, if coming from the round 2 and 3, if you get 20, 30 people here, and out of those only 10% say 2 or 3 actually qualify and come and actually attend the interviews, and then from there 2 or 3, one might get selected for round 3, 4, and they might not actually come and join. So the point I'm trying to mention here is for us to make one suitable candidate joining in the team and performing, actually we have to follow the process in numbers. This is a numbers game, which is why this is a full-time job for yourself. Yeah, so having said that, in round 2 and 3 you might not just do 20, 30, you might have to do 50, 60 candidates in one day. You might have to line up those many candidates on one day. Yeah, you might have seen the companies who do the what do you call them, walk-in interviews. Do you remember? You know, right? So how do they come? 200, 300, 400 candidates. For how many roles? 2, 3 roles. Why is that? Because they select the best ones out of those what is available in the market. Yeah? And that's the process that you need to adopt. Does that make sense? So pick up a date. 23rd is the date you want to do round 2s of all the candidates. And when you get the candidates and you're doing the interview, don't call me on the Skype and say, Suleiman, are you available for interview? No, there's a calendar link that we need that Tina can send you and I can send you as well. What we do is, once you follow this process, you set up this process and say, this is the dates that I'm going to do the interviews on, Suleiman, and I'm going to check up the availability on your calendar, and we might have to book half a day for those candidates interviews. then you let me know and we block it in the calendar. And then there's no disturbance. I'm going to be here sitting and waiting for you to do the interviews and we carry on the interviews.